Good evening. We're going to do actually a serious show here. Not that I never do. We got to talk about one blogger, and do me a favor. No names need to be mentioned because you'll just no names. I'm going to talk about somebody that I think is absolutely certifiable, and you have a good idea who it is. Now, we have a lot of characters on YouTube, obviously. And some of them act crazy for entertainment. Others are definitely probably just. But if you really want to get the cream of, you have to. Now you'll know who he is. You have seen through the years the video, his antics with the Obama doll, talking a routine. You've seen, and you know exactly is absolutely by American standards certainly would be certifiable. He would be certifiable. There's no question about it. A white jacket in a padded room. There's no question. Please understand about. They don't realize of their mania. They don't realize the level of their. They don't. It don't matter. You could paint that, and they're not a certain reality about themselves. Now, I'm really urging the Expat Trash Channel to do a really good. So we're going to urge the Expat Trash Channel to do their best. Some of the best clips of this guy's certifiably in. You cannot point out to somebody that is that far gone to convince them that the hand they play in other people's business is wrong. Their behavior by itself, triggered by perhaps loneliness, rejection, can really turn on a person. But I don't think this has ever been anything new. I think it's been exasperated by a pretense relationship. I really think situation perhaps that the dynamics of the family perhaps where it started, maybe started all the way back in. Talking about somebody who is totally dependent on hearing, whether it's on YouTube, someone who's completely lost their. I've been around a while in life. I'm in my 60s. I've been around on YouTube 7.5, 8 years. I don't even know. I always say that. I don't know. I've questioned a lot of people's behaviors on here, even some of the current trolls that we have on here now, some of the nameless faces, but I gotta tell you, you'll.
Scott Del Fuego, if he sends me a super chat. All right, wait. $1. For $1, I will send you, I will give you a schematic. I will make a picture.
No names,
and give it
please.
to you in 3D for $1. It's worth $1. And then you got to understand, Nanai gets that half of that money for the fiesta. So pizzazz. They got a pot that doesn't make noise. They got a pot that doesn't reverberate. Come on. Why don't you get yourself a decent pot to bang? Or don't bang a pot. One or the other. So did we add those two?
Not only is this person suffering mental illness, but I think he obviously has some source of money, but it's not enough to do the things that he'd like to do in life. Obviously, he wouldn't be living where he's living in the situation. His health, everything else has been deteriorating. I'm not sure what's going to kill him first, his mental health or his. As I said, I've been on here. I've seen him come. This guy would win the blue ribbon in a contest amongst a whole list of. This is real mental illness. There's no question about it. This is what you call real. And even off YouTube, I've experienced all kinds of people. Trust me, I have. I've never seen this kind of behavior. Not really. I've seen close, but I've never seen. Gotta be honest. I really haven't. I've never. But you cannot tell people that they're mentally ill because mentally ill people recognize how that's. They want to point fingers on here, and they always have a lot to say about other YouTubers, and they always want to pick and choose. Well, one of the biggest liars are the who bases his whole life on fantasy, and you know what he wants. He just goes on and on. I mean, too long to sit do a seemingly model. You will never get through to this guy. It's just not go face that reality. It's not go. It's like how cocky Barry Jordan was. You'll never be able to get through to him. No matter how you tried to warn him about, hey, doing this, and probably not the best thing in the world for you to do because there's a price. The guy I'm talking about is going out of his way, got into my personal business with tenants, still does. This guy was responsible for, in part for putting flyers, admitted, that he does talk to them and has talked to them. This guy is, yes. Oh, okay, got it. That was quick. Thank you. All right. That was quick, actually. Just put that over. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Now, I'll be real honest with you. I find it really hard to even listen to this guy's voice, nevertheless to watch his videos. On an inside level, there's things I would love to do, but I just know I can't do it. Because although Barry Jordan tried to do a lot of damage to me, but he's paying for it. This guy tried very hard to do a lot of damage to me, and he's not. He has to learn one way or the other, and I think that's whether it's self-inflicted or the guy should be pulled by his ears, and taken into a solitary confinement. Pure mental illness to the and you can't argue that. All you have to do is listen to his shows. Now, I've never been more serious other than talking about Barry Jordan. I've never been more serious. The guy is mentally ill. He'll call people where you live, restaurants, this, that. He's been behind a lot of the shit on here. It's not just with me. Let's. Now he's kissing another because he feels he's very protected. The guy don't really trust him. But it's like the Chihuahua hanging around with the master. Description I said before. That's all it is. Loneliness can really, in big ways. You'll start talking to yourself. You do stupid things to get attention all the time. Always looking to get attention. Like I said all the time, negative attention is stupid. He'll eventually die because he's not healthy, and what he's trying to do right now is very dangerous. But I don't believe that it's a total fast. I'm not going to believe that because I don't.
He said that. You're not going to stand up and say, well, I said this because he said that. Here's how it's going to work. You have a case, and he said that. You're not going to stand up. If you say he did something, and you have proof, still.
Well, you know what? This is very mild stuff right here. I've got the videos here that if you're new to all this, don't have a clue who his aunt adopting a Obama doll to bang in a pot, which is very light actually compared. This, I don't know if you could find an exact. It's really hard to define that level of mental illness. It's extremely hard. I find it extremely hard, except to say, by his own demonstration about it, extremely. There's no question about it. If you would play his professional who's in the I'm sure they could come up with a bunch of what they call axis 1, axis 2, axis. There would be definitions for this guy that most people probably haven't seen for a long time. people that study the human mind, whether they're psychiatrists, psychologists. This guy should be in the. How does one live with yourself like that? Well, let me explain that. Because you are not on a conscious level aware of how mentally ill you are. It's very hard for them to separate from reality. What's reality and what is, and just like with Barry Jordan, you were never able to. Nearly impossible.
You're helping me level out the floor. To Daisy, this is you're helping me level out the floor.
Well, I need to level out his head. I mean, that's the problem. He doesn't. A man who proclaims to be the best of everything there possibly could. A clue, actually.
Over and visit Mike, announced or unannounced. We have always been welcome since the year 2000, and over and visit Mike, announced or unannounced.
Well, he's talking about this guy Mike, who he claims to be a friend, and Mike, the guy's was like a master in karate, and the guy didn't like him coming around. The guy actually, I guess, gave karate lessons to Elvis Presley, whatever. He does live in the Philippines. There is a guy named Mike that he's
going to buy a clown mask, and then we're going to go reconnoiter Cebu, and we're going to, famous YouTubers, monuments, where they, let's say, famous YouTuber has been here, and they have at the Cuckoo Bar and Restaurant, let's say. Famous YouTuber has been here, and the name, the date, what they had for dinner. And Al and I are going to go reconnoiter some parts of Cebu and find things, and we're going to drill them. Don't live anymore! Well, I can't forget this evening as your face as you were leaving. But I guess that's just the way it is. Don't live anymore! Well, I can't forget this evening as your face as you were leaving. But I guess that's just the way it is. Don't live anymore! Well, I can't forget this evening as your face as you were leaving. But I guess that's just the way the story goes. Don't live anymore! Well, I can't forget this.
Well, anyway, you get the gist of it, and this is just mild stuff. I don't have the time to go through all my files and play everything in here. Boy, this is mild manic. I mean, this is the light stuff. I think the Philippines government needs to give him mental health examination, whether he's a danger to society. I think this man should be locked up with the other loonies out here and never let out again, and never be again. That's pretty obvious. Now, this is a serious little monologue here. We're not kidding around tonight. I think and as time passes by, I see his behavior just progress from. No names mentioned on here, please. You can make your own conclusions, but I'm not on camera. But we have some seriously ill people on YouTube, and there's no question about it. This guy is the icing on the cake of mental illness. He's the poster child of mental illness. But like I said, you could call him any name in the book you want. You could label him as anything in the. You could leave any comment, and it ain't going to matter to him. He doesn't digest. In his state of mental health, he just doesn't see who he is. He doesn't see what he does. It's impossible to get through to people like that. And there's going to be several things that'll probably happen with this guy. He's either going to kill himself by his diet, according to how much he's really eating, or by the microbials around, or he's going to hang himself, or he's going to fall and break his neck up, or somebody's going to go over him. Now, wait. We're not encouraging any violence. A disclaimer. I'm just saying he's got an army to fight out there. Although he thinks he has an army behind him. It's all smoke and mirrors. All his fictitious friendship to Aloe, it's not a friendship. Trust me on that. I know long this guy useful for something, he'll use him. But once he finds him not useful, he'll discard him. It really can affect your mind in such a horrible way. And like I told you, I've been witness to this stuff. I've seen people in the parks when I used to work around the parks over in Washington State. I've seen these guys talking to themselves and arguing with themselves. And he does that. I've seen him where he left the camera kind of, and he'd be talking to himself and some interesting things he had to say. I can't recall all of that. I will guarantee you that he does. Yeah. Maybe I'll go back to the interview. Then you got these other people that can't keep their nose out of anybody's business and everything kind of. Now, mental illness is serious. And maybe, I don't know if this guy could be salvaged or not. I'll be real honest with you. I don't know if there's any mental health professionals that could. But again, I gotta keep on. Yeah, he is. Adult by age. He has the emotional capacity of. Yeah. Since he got that bolo knife in his head. But let me continue and repeat myself again, because I want to make this very clear. There is nothing you can say to this guy. There's no comment you can that's going to make him come out of his. There's nothing you can do. You can humor him, and that's about all you could really do. Without human contact, without his computer, without anybody to talk to on his messenger, this guy will get to the point. He will take one of these not so well built stools, stand on it, put a rope around his neck. If he did not have any human contact at all, and he really doesn't, and he only gets this through, that's it. I highly doubt that his, I think if anything, they tolerate him. Well, there's that crazy guy again, That's what they do. I will guarantee, okay? You got to see him in legal offices. I mean, this guy, look what happened with Ricky. He was going nutso at that point. They had to almost restrain him. And then when I went to the NBI office, he just went, he can't keep his mouth shut. It's just, but the good news, if there's his age, his obesity, and no diet. If anything, it could affect his heart, his kidneys, and other metabolic functions. But you can't tell him that. I even tried to show, which I don't need to, an ounce of compassion and give him some advice on several occasions about his leg, about this and that. To no avail. You got to let him do what he's going to be doing. You're not going to shut his mouth. He's always going to be a storyteller. He's always going to think he's the best at everything in the world. He's the best vlogger, the best person who could use a tool, the best carpenter, the best dock builder. In his mind, he actually is. So that's how you got it. In his mind, he met all these famous people, has all this knowledge, has all these, but that's his. It's like it's hard to get through, for example, what do you call that mental illness with a child? Boy, my brain is going too, I think. See or hear what you do. Because of his loneliness and his rejection, the end result is who lashing out at people. He doesn't, and he will. He doesn't see how desperate he is to find a woman. I remember on one show when he was in a restaurant, and I don't know if it was at the prawn farm, when these two gals, and he was, do you want to go to the produce? Do you like fruit? Do you like this? What can I do for you? And he wanted them to hang around. He needs human company. He needs to socialize with people. He needs to talk to people on the phone. And my God, when Warren was heavily involved, and Warren ain't my favorite person either, but I will tell you, Warren went you some. I mean, it was mandatory that Warren would answer his phone when this he would. If Warren did not answer the fucking phone, then turn around and want to charge a lot of U.S. dollars to Warren as a punishment and a penalty for not answering his phone. He needs somebody to gripe to. He needs somebody to bitch about. He needs to bitch about people. He needs to find any kind of an organization that would have him as a member. And I guess it was what Woody Allen's statement. I would never join a club. And I don't think that was Woody Allen's original. That was actually Groucho Marx. That. Yep. You got that right, Jerry. This guy should be institutionalized. There is no question. There's none, and I don't think anybody out there disagrees with me. I don't think. At least if they put, he could be around a bunch of, and he could be the king of cockiness, and he could tell them what a jet mechanic he is when he's only took some training in A&P mechanics. He could tell them stories. He's been to the moon. He's met lizards on his planet. That the planet here is flat and it's not round. And maybe he'll find excuse the expression, captive audience that's there to listen to him. He's not going through or down a good path in life. I will tell you that. He hasn't done that for years. But when he had this pretend girlfriend a number of years ago, that in his mind it was his girlfriend. That's his delusional mind. That when she did find somebody else, she decided he really lost it even more back then. And this is the kind of guy that when he doesn't get his way, he just gets more vindictive, more angry, more vicious. If the Expat Trash channel, you need the content. And I realize that there's probably more video clips that you could probably deal with in one show to be able to present the mental. I realize that it's really a very difficult task. But if you have the time, I think we'd all appreciate it. Do it for me even, and I'll utilize that material. Trust me, I will. I make my promise. I will utilize that material. I have talked to. Yes, he was telling. See, Warren kind of opened up to me a bit because, okay, he even threw us. He did. I think what did we make about 40,000? We did. Warren was another person, or is, that is looking for that. They're alike in some ways, in many ways, actually, taking notes and this. And they're, well, we're trying to get him committed. Let me finish the sentence. He was very much committed to a defense situation when somebody would talk about him in a negative way. They get really defensive. Then they turn out. This is like a made. It would qualify for a made-for-TV movie, drama. I think maybe a lot of people wouldn't believe it. They probably want to call it science fiction or something. But no, this is real. And I know he's listening, and I'm glad he is. But you see, like I said, it don't matter what it doesn't matter. You're not going to get through to him. He does not see his psychology as being. He does not see. When we see what he does, it's like watching a movie. We see the actor talking. We hear what he has to say, or in person with somebody, and you're witnessing their behavior. We know it's happening because we're there. We see it. Now, if he were to look at all the zany Bizarro World video, he would be in denial. Oh, I'm just fooling around. That's not my real mentality. The hell it ain't. The hell it ain't. Now, if you thought Barry Jordan was bad and you thought he was sick in the mind, well, we got one person out here that'll beat him to the. Oh, he'll beat. There's no question about that whatsoever. So, what do you do in a situation like this? Do you beat the shit out of this person like Ricky tried to do, and he failed? Do you just humor this person? Because seriously, I don't think there's much you can do unless you want to. I know a lot of you out there would love to see a certain situation happen with this guy, and it could very well happen. It's already did, but in a mild way. It was a lesson learned, and we all laughed at it. We're all going to remember that the rest of our lives. What Ricky did to him, whether you think it was right or wrong, he got away. But I think my personal opinion is that this. No, it's not an act. No, I've seen him in person. I've seen him at an MBI office. I've seen the way he was acting. This is not an act. We've seen stuff on Ricky presented when this police office after that incident, his behavior. Oh no, it's real. It's as real. Unfortunately, it is real. I think that basically with someone like this, you're not going to get through to them. You basically have to humor them. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to commit an act of violence against this guy? Because that could put you in a doghouse along with. There's ways of dealing with people like this. And who says I'm not doing it right now? But there are ways of dealing. I don't forget everything he's done against me. I don't forget how he defamed my fucking character. Even if you think I forgot that kind of shit, it's embedded in my just as shit that. Why do I gotta remind you? Don't worry about the thumbs up. Just don't worry about it. I guess Ricky's getting upset. Said it was showing about a donation. I think somebody to make him happy. He said that Frank is making all kinds of super chat. Well, I'm not here tonight, that's for sure. But I have made a little bit, and that really seems to upset this guy, and it upsets Ricky, and it's upsetting the world that people are sending money to my show. Oh dear, how dare anybody send money to my show on a super? It's happened. I probably can't. That's really not the issue. There are some people that you need to take out and put them around other people, and he can tell all the tall tales in the world to all these other incredibly, and they might, unless they can't hear a word he's saying, because they're just as delusional. And he's not going to recognize his mental illness. It's not going. Call him any name in the book. Oh, he'll remember, but he's not going to be able. What his personality, what he projects to other people when he meets them, how they define him when they meet him, his character, his waddled pen, his insults to the community at large, which I guarantee don't like him. And I'm sure that the business next to him really wishes that he was. That's, and I know a few things too about the owner. Somebody actually talked to the owner, and they really wishes that they don't feel safe and comfortable, and he's been bad for business. I mean, look at the lot. Who wants to go? They look next to when they came to see what this place looked. It didn't help get customers. It still doesn't. I don't even know. But I think there comes a time when we all got to put our boots to the ground. Ain't enough. I mean, believe me, I got fire under my heel, maybe as much or more. And I tried to kind of leave him alone for a while. Figured that I was trying to understand his mental illness. Tried. Again, and I said, all bets are off. When Humpty Dumpty falls, you're never going to be able to put Humpty Dumpty together again. In this case, There is nothing that's going to help this man, neither money or anything, that's going to get him in a normal state of mind, whatever how you define as let's call it work. Trust me, it's not going to work. This guy is far, far. He's in left field and not coming into the ball. There is no, and I don't think he. Now, as I said, I was put it when I talk about something, it's about you see it, you hear it, it's real. No, that's not entertainment. Let me tell you that. This goes beyond. I'm trying to. It goes in the world. It does play havoc on your mind. I told you, I've seen it up and close. Yeah, I think he's too far gone, really. But like I said, and deny it, the kind of mental illness that he has, and I'm no professional on this. I'm not going to go look up the Axis 1, Axis 3, Axis 6, AXIS, and look up what an axis is when a professional makes a psychological thing. There's too many axes, okay? He will die a hated man. He will die a very, absolutely as his age, and him being all alone for so long is not good. No, it's really not. I mean, if you really want to find compassion for him, you knock yourself out. But I can't find any compassion for this guy. He did as bad to me, worse than Barry Jordan. Worse than Barry Jordan. And believe me, I have controlled and contained myself. I could have easily came over there, but my common sense took over and said, look, the guy is considered the source of where these words are coming and how he word. Even if I wanted to help this guy, I could not help him. He's beyond help. And that's the way he's going to die. Look, let's face the fact. I'm not a doctor. You know, I don't have a lot of common sense. And I do understand. And this guy has been carrying on probably about 50% BMI, body mass index, at least, for a lot of years. It's played havoc with his heart. And no matter what he says, he does drink. And he did smoke for a long time, although he's claiming that he stopped 600 days ago. We heard him say that in the past, and somebody was over there, and they seen those wooden steps that lead into his shack. They seen all these cigarette butts around there. That's where he'd sit down. I don't buy it. I never bought anything. He's not going to live, I believe. Now look, I don't wish it on. There's a karma thing that goes on. So I'm not really, and I can say it in words, I probably did in the past, out of anger. It'll most likely be heart related. Besides any biological warfare, his festering pustule that he had for 6 years. 3-star lifestyle at best. 3-star? Where do you find 3 stars in that? I think you're giving him too much credit. Hey, look, you know, I fool around on my show. I can get goofy on here. But you know what? When I do something like, it's not coming from a deep, dark place. It's just coming from having a laugh and something very innocent. I got fire under my heels. I don't wish him well. I mean, don't necessarily wish him death, but I don't wish him well as I didn't with Barry. I do not wish this guy well. I don't think he represents anything positive for this culture in the Philippines out here. He lost it, and especially lost it when his pseudo girlfriend, a number of years ago, decided not to hang around anymore because in his mind that was his girlfriend. And he lost his trophy. But in his mind, even though they probably never consummated the relationship, that he calls. Now, I'm not trying to pull views in on here to tell a false story. It's not my intent. But it seems to me that the more that I've listened to his show, he's gotten worse. And I don't know if any of you noticed. We've seen him talking and diving with it. I mean, we've seen how his mental illness. But I'm just, at that point of believing that I just don't see where. Yeah, okay, so that he's after losing all the weight, he's going to get a big cheeseburger and fries. He was already thinking. Yeah, okay, says he needs a. I don't think there's a therapist alive that could help this guy. Maybe shock therapy or something. I really don't know. I think he's gone, like the movie Gone Girl. I think he's gone. He's completed. And the only environment he's going to be happy with for this guy is to be in an insane asylum with other people just like him. And he could be the king of the road like he wants to be. And he could tell them what a great carpenter he is and that he's a jet mechanic, which he's never flown a fucking plane in his fucking life, never owned a barge, never did that. But you gotta understand, in his mind, what good is it you making a comment on his show? And saying, hey, I don't believe you, prove it to me, whatever. Because there's nothing to prove. He never did all these things. Okay? On any intellectual level with a person like this, because they think they're better than you, that's where the narcissist, they will deny every bit of truism that you could complete state of, or he needs a good Filipina close to his age. He needs anybody that's willing to sit with him. I remember, and I don't want to get personal, but I remember when my dad, and maybe he felt that he was the cause of it and whatever. I remember him crying one day saying, I've never seen him cry. What did I do? What did I do? And he was just really out of it. The damage was done. Whatever he feels that he did to drive her away, he did a good job of it. Not knowing what to do. I've witnessed my father at his lowest. I've witnessed other people at their lowest. I've seen people. Loneliness really sucks. Now, especially if you've been with somebody many, many years, they become like ingrained with your body, with your soul. They're like your arm, you're attached. I mean, you are one. You are united in body and soul and mind. But then when that person is not in your life anymore, you'll find some serious. This is hardcore shit that we're talking about on my show tonight. Hardcore. At times I almost felt sorry for him because I am a compassionate person, but within reason, I just don't see how I'd ever want to help him. Considering all the damage, there's no forgiving him for that. There's none. I tried to put that to the side for a while. You remember how long it was? I even tried understanding his mental illness and his age and his health. I just tried to be, but it just didn't work. Does this guy have family back? He has a brother. That's all I know about. He might even have a child. I've heard that too. That he had a son. And something about, no, they don't want to bother with him. He's too nuts. Kind of like Barry. Being locked in a room without his computer, without a phone, and maybe something will click. I wish I could give you guys an answer, but in this case, it's impossible. And of course he'll react to this video because that's what he does. He wants people to give him attention, even if it's negative. Same with Barry, nothing different. Same with Ricky and other people. That even negative attention is still attention when you so desperately need it. According to what's going on with you with your mental illness, in this guy's case, I can't sit here and actually tell you the actual definition and psychological what is wrong with him because there's just too many, and they to kind of like overpower each other. Just when you think it's this, it turns out to be this plus that, and which one is overweighing the other? It's like he has other personalities too. And he does talk to himself. I've heard him numerous times when he was moving away from the camera. And he was going to go do another chore, go to eat, but his camera was still on. I heard him many times, well, numerous, talking to himself. Loneliness kills, and stupidity and ignorance also kills. Here's a man who claims he's on 15 days of a diet that he hasn't eaten. He's eating. Trust me, he's eating. And his body will lose a little bit of weight because the caloric intake for a man should be about 22, somewhere around, I don't know, 20. So if you reduce that caloric intake, you're going to lose weight. The first thing you're going to lose is water. That's why his face is looking so, it's looking thin because all the water weight came off, even when he drank. So, but what it leaves behind is that melting pot look. He's got even more of a melting pot face than he's ever had. It's all, and he's familiar with Sag Harbor. He knows where Sag Harbor is. That's where he should be with all the other sags and hags. No, I don't like this guy. It's pretty obvious I don't like this guy. To a level that I've only felt with Barry Jordan. No, I don't like him at all. I do not wish him well at all. I wouldn't shed a tear if he fell off his fucking ladder and broke his fucking neck on camera. I'm sorry if that sounds hard. But this guy does not contribute nothing to the YouTube community. He doesn't contribute to his town, to the Philippines, or to here. And he's a major e-beggar. One of the biggest e-beggars on. Someone like this you cannot respect because there's nothing to. Salazar says if he needs help, one of his subscribers and enablers will donate to him. Well, that's what happens. Some people maybe feel sorry for him, but it's the same thing like with Barry. You're enabling him to do this shit over and over again. And you shouldn't be enabling anybody. But, your money is yours. I mean, as I said, I'm not in a competition here. If somebody wants to send me a super chat, they do it. But it's not because I'm wanting to compete with his show or anybody else's show. With no reason. Just, I'm not out here with a tin cup in my hand. People send me money out of their heart, or it's just not going to do what he does. I did that in jest the other day with the pot to show you how ridiculous that sounds and what he does all the time, how he tries to manipulate people. He's very good at that. He's been doing that. There comes a time that this all has to stop one way or the other. If not, he's claiming he's not dizzy, he's not nauseous, that he feels all this energy. It goes unless he's an alien, which he'll probably tell you that he is. Maybe. But if you go on that long that he has supposedly not eating anything. Look, I know about this shit. I read about this shit. I read about all that he's eating. He is eating. He's a liar. Always been a liar, and he always will. He tells tall tales. That's what he does. He's eating. He's just not eating. Now, I know Ricky's not. Two peas in a pod, and so many. All the king's horses and all the king's men is not going to put his brain. Now, if he really was on a diet without eating and just drinking flavored water or coffee, well, he's probably drinking a lot of coffee to get stimulated. But that's dangerous. He doesn't realize. I'm tired of giving him advice on what he should be doing. I can just tell you, it should, because if he has a problem or defect, okay. Also, his muscle, because his body, and he's actually eating away with little muscle he had on his body to begin with. Now everything's going to turn to flab if he doesn't die first. I don't know what's going to, it's very possible. I'm being as serious. what he's trying to do, if he really isn't eating, and as I said, I don't buy it, it's what he's doing. Because he knows better. Remember, he's a narcissist. He knows better than everybody, and he's his own superhero in his. Ay, ay, ay. Good. All right, let me tell you a little secret here. Let me also read here. I saw Ricky's. Okay, yeah. Maybe somebody should call a mental health organization for him before it's too late. That's not a bad idea, guys. It's not that I feel compassion for the guy. Believe me when I tell you, there was a time I did, and I tried to help him despite what he did to me, and I recognized that he was mentally ill. I knew that for a long time. This is no new news to anybody on here. How mentally ill the guy is, obviously, by his own demonstration. And I select these words very carefully, trust me, for legal purposes. Demonstration, not by yours. But let me tell you, and I knew Warren, so I was just lending him an ear. Yeah, you know. Warren gave us money. Warren gave us. At one point, he gave us 40. He gave us 8,000. Did you hear what I just said? He said, this is some money that when he figured out the guy was just using him, that everything I said about the guy was true, Warren came to his senses at one point. He was never with his senses to begin with, but you heard it right. We got 40,000 was given to my girlfriend. Then an overall 8,000 was wired over to us. Not 8,000 pesos. I want to emphasize that. I sent a lot of Warren's writings over to this guy. Not that I gave him a taste of what Warren was doing. I never trusted either one of these guys. I played Warren. I sure did. Because I knew he still is. If you didn't know, Warren is actually Johnny Wad, and he's also, oh fuck, a name that you will recognize. Let me think about it, because I'm just diverting my attention here. I'll tell you who he's also playing the minutes here, but yeah, of course Warren's still alive. He's never died. He was actually paying Barry off. He was sending him a couple of thousand pesos here and there. Just say, keep this up, make him died. Even told Sweetskates that too, long too, him to talk to Sweetskates and Barry at the time. You're hearing it live from, and Warren told me things about this guy that I was thinking me. He did that, said that. Wow. Now this is Warren. And warnings about the life of this guy and how cared with Warren. He could contemplated suicide. But he would go through it. He kept on begging Warren to help him out. It's like it was Warren's kid. He expected Warren every fucking month. Warren claims to me, holding on to your hats. What's it worth to you, buddies? On this next statement. It's a word to we'll see. I'm going to give you a figure of what Warren has put out of his pocket. We might just give you a figure. We might. But it's an unbelievable amount. He was basically got pissed off when Warren him off. He had to find other. Henceforth, the storytelling deeper. His e-begging went deeper and deeper. Little antics went into shit. And when this pseudo girlfriend he has went the other direction with him, and he found out that he knew the whole thing. Boyfriend to begin with, okay. Even Warren said that. Do you ever remember the box of rum bottles that he had on his shelf? That was all the rum that he drank. But he turned around and said he used it for medicinal. You remember the video when he was drunk out of his mind and he was with John Blaze? Deny that? I don't know. At a restaurant, and this guy was drunk off his ass saying, fuck you, Frank. Where John Blaze says, to say, fuck you. on camera, which really has to do with ergonomics, which really has to do with mathematics, touching his palms to the ground, thinking that he's so special and athletic. There's nothing special about it. If I could attest for that, how short he is. His weight should be 145, and even that's supposed to be a lot for his height. He's about 5'5" in height. I met him. He got his type, like I met 5'5", and his legs are very short. Of course, he could put his palms to the ground. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and if you very easy thing to do to implant your hands on the ground. Are you guys ready for this figure yet? Show me a little appreciation here, my boys. I'm going to give you a figure. Light up that fucking screen, and I might tell you something. A figure that Warren told me himself. It approximates, but it's not down to the exact dollar. But I can give you a dollar amount of what Warren has put out. This money, you know what? I really don't know. I know he made wooden doorknobs. He had he had an art or worked it. Where he made his money, I still can't tell you that. Share that with me. Or I tell you right now, no, that never happened. He didn't lose his family in a fire or in a car incident where he claims that some truck sideswiped the car and this heavy load or whatever it was came down on the car and crushed his family. First I heard it was a fire, then the story changed to something else. Okay, well, what do you expect? But he's had his lucid moments when we had talked, where this guy has shared with him how delusional is and was unbelievable. He believes that he was a jet mechanic. He really believes he was going to build this structure. Possibly built it. Warren would have put out the money. That's when he really lost. That's when he really off his so-called allowance. He lost it. Now, to exacerbate the whole situation, his girlfriend just didn't want to stay there no more. She had something going with another guy. Now, don't forget, in his mind, he was thinking, that's my girlfriend. He paraded her around. If you met any of the YouTubers, he'd take her with her, shows with her, where he presented her as if it was his real girlfriend. No, even according to Warren, they didn't have that kind of did. They never consummated the relationship, nothing, none of that. He was not able to do that, actually. Whatever, I mean, he was not able to do it. Boyfriend and girlfriend, anyway. But that I got this girlfriend on camera to try to stand. I've got a real Filipina here, a first with Filipino anatomy. He never got to experience that. Hell no. But she was getting it on. Who was sending her a lot of money because he couldn't stay there in the Philippines yet. He had to retire yet. He didn't know until I introduced a photo of her hotel room with this guy. He didn't want to believe it. So he told his audience, amicable split up. I knew because she tells me, said, liar, 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 girlfriend. And he did not know, shocked him almost to death. And you were able to see a change in his demeanor from his eccentricity. And I swear, obvious. You still don't want to know the figure, huh? I just won't tell you. No, I'm not going to bang a pot to a fool how she looked or sounded about. But yeah, somebody needs to commit him. There's no question about it. I think the DSWD, whatever you call it, needs him. Immigration. I really feel very strongly about this because he's not going to get it unless somebody's or not they could help him. I don't know. No, I don't know how deep this is. It's pretty deep. His mentality. Know how deep it is. What he's done to me and others. He's a vicious person, Barry Jar. Hell, he's living it right. If there is he got an RSVP to the hell that we refer to after death. There's no question. There's no question going. But he is, and I don't know what's working hell, a hot, nasty hazard abode that he lives in. Loneliness. He has to talk to Aloe. He has to talk to Scott. He has to get his people. He could not get through the day or night without doing so. Trust me on this. I know for a fact. It's that bad. Decided to come out here to go. There's a lot of reasons why he did. We don't have to go into that. But he made it out, and his life has never been the same. Maybe that's the way he lived when he was living in America. Maybe it just got worse because he's in a foreign. His neighbors, people that know him, well, they crazy man. Here he comes, going to say something again. How do we get away from him? Same thing. This is a real guy. Him, numerous occasions. Numerous. Then it got to a point where he was actually hired to do a job for him, but as it should fast forward. The last time this guy seen him, I received a text from him. I don't have it now. I showed the guy. And the guy says that away from him. When he starts, this is a big thing for him because, and to somebody at that level, to talk to him. I mean, you imagine with an ego boost. The guy didn't want anything to do with him anymore. I talked to the guy on Facebook Messenger numerous times. Then no more. I didn't want to bug the guy. He's not the kind of guy that wants to dwell on that. He's living. The guy is his own truth. He does. And he's living a good life. And hope he didn't want nothing to do with him. He kind of humored him for a while. He came over a couple of times. He was humorous. He entertained the people. That was the point where he had to find a way to remove himself from the conversation by telling him he's got other guests to attend to, numerous things, to shut him up and be as polite as he possibly can because he's a very polite person. There's only so much you could sit down and listen to this guy. And the guy even recognized all his false stories. Like a lot of people do, they humored him. Mine, but he did not want this guy to come over to his social events. He really didn't like it. He would show up on his own several times. And what's the guy going to do? The guy, I really don't. And not that I know him personally. I don't get the idea that guy was like that. So anyway, I guess nobody wants to know the figure that Warren, over that period of time, is actually giving him. No, not the show, folks. Let me tell you that. No, not anymore. I'm going to be the guy. I put a lot of into my show. I've done things for my viewers they weren't willing to help me out with. And I don't mean money, whatever, in regards to Barry Jordan. That's not where we should be at this point. I will tell you that. It's not. I spent a lot of money, put a lot of time and effort into putting somebody where they belong and should have been in a long time. I've got a few thanks from people because they all wanted me to do it on YouTube there. Never did dirty work. From Aloe all the way down. You do the dirty work. I'm just here to witness it. We're just here to make comments on your channel about this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy, but they don't want to do anything. And here's ever realizations. I'll be real about it. They never had the kind of tenacity, in fact. But, my show, I'm willing to show on here, but I'm willing to go way out. for anybody on here, no matter how much you donate to me. I just don't do that. Money ain't gonna buy lies, and it's not gonna buy truth. It's not gonna buy anything. Some extra groceries for me and Gilda. That too. We never will. And thank God we don't have to. Depend on this income for Super Chat. They heavily depend on it. And it's pretty sad that they have to do so. Why did they come out here? Even the ones that are not living out here. America, perhaps? Come on, land of opportunity. You can't make money in America? Come on, say it's not so in your pockets. You gotta come on here. That lint in the wrong way. Get your navel and take the lint out of your navel. But putting a shive, unless you got a show with extra, it's so especial. It's not gonna happen. Very few people get few people. And very enough money to make it worthwhile. Unless you really like me, like certain topics, like discussing things. It's never, I was never ruled by monetization. One was never monetized. There was no need. For some fun, a little back and forth, keep things exciting. But that's about it. I will never be at that level. Knock on wood. That I would have to totally depend on for my survival. I don't think at this point it'll ever be. I don't think that's ever going to happen. No matter what. Certainly not anymore. Oh, but it's a whole lot less of a concern now. But I'm not going to sit in my shit money every fucking day. Because I got down to the lint in my fucking pocket. Like these crazy asses do on here all the time. That's existing. There's a big difference between living and existing. Eons of time and light years in between living. Existing is when you do things like that guy does. A tiny little structure that's breaking down. Platform he uses for his computers. He's every fucking day eating him up. Yeah, that's a matter of time too. Now they'd get probably poisoned. The world, physically, is falling apart. Lives in is falling apart. His whole life. I don't see him being around a long time. I tell you, I don't see his physical existence for various reasons. Character. I think I understand physiology. Besides his mental illness. And together, it's even more of a disaster than separate and apart from each other. We've had people who met him walk away from the situation, even Brevis. Everybody walked away from it saying the same thing, that this guy is a fucking nut job. Big E walked away thinking that. Ricky walked away thinking that. And whoever else ever visited him walked away thinking the same damn thing. Now, not that they're pillars of the mental health. Neither one of them are. They're not. Not even close. And I'm actually complimenting these guys. Can you imagine that? Okay, guys, I think it's time I get off here. I was on here a little 30 minutes, actually, an hour and 32 minutes. Shows here, but kind of a let it all hang out show tonight is what it is. The one that lives in Bohol, are we connecting this? You know that somebody gave an extraordinary amount of money? True, it's real true. It's no Barry by Pennsylvania Trucker and some others. Just to name a few people. More so to the guy who's living in Bohol. I know this guy. You might know him, you might not. But the figure on this is extraordinary. But since it's going on here, I'm not going to. There's not much dialogue going on. That does exist. And who basically is money. Michael Thomas. Have you heard of him? Some of you know him not. And go into great detail on him. We could. But it's a completely fictitious. Because nobody exists like that in the world. Not really. It all up. Well, you think what you want, whether I did or not. Cross, C-R-O-S, Cross, things, and he is mentally ill, and Cross is having a lot of psychological episodes. He's taking people, amazing how this is around, how much we learn about people, how much we learn. Take notes. What else can you do? What else can you really do? That's how you learn. You listen. Fortunately, on here, not that's said on YouTube is the truth. Yeah, we're talking big bucks. Of course, we're talking big bucks here. We're talking big bucks. Hey, tell you the truth, it was Jim Cross. It was Jim Cross. I got a figure, but I guess it's going to have to be. Now, you'll be shocked how much money was given to Jim Cross. Somebody that has also taken a very similar situation, very similar. 2 peas in a pod, like a pod of whales. Big bucks. Big bucks. And the other person demanded more. Was never happy of this. Never happy at all. At all. At all. Greed, my friends. The greed. It continued. To the other.